not business as usual. My parents have been here too many times for me to know.
Hundreds of hospital workers still on strike, but is this walkout affecting patient care?
Plus, an investigation into a local school district. The I-team digging into documents, working to find out why a reading program is under review.
And a second suspect arrested in connection with a Toledo woman's death. What we're learning about her murder.
This is 13 ABC Action News.
Day 2 on the picket line for hundreds of local hospital workers.
Union members in Mercy Health St. Vincent Medical Center are at odds over a contract.
And today, still no sign of a resolution. Once again, we have full team coverage of the strike, getting both sides of the story. 13 ABC's Mackenzie Keyline checking in with Mercy Health officials to see how things are operating.
But we start with 13 ABC's Amy Montgomery, who joins us live from the picket line. Amy?
Diane Lee, we're here. As you mentioned, this is day 2. Still a very active picket line here in front of St. B's. People getting a lot of support. You see some of the workers behind me. We have a lot of them here. These are all nurses, service employees, and technical staff there working to reach a deal with Mercy Health. Many of these workers have been working on getting their ducks in a row so that they can be in this for the long haul. Take a look at some of this video. This was inside of the UAW Local 12 this morning. Mercy employees were coming in, filling out paperwork so that they could get their health benefits while that contract is still up in the air. Union leadership tells us that they haven't heard from hospital management since before the strike, as those weekend negotiations broke down. And while these workers say it's hard to be on the picket line instead of in there with their patients, they're adamant that they had no other choice. And today, other labor unions have thrown their support behind Local 2213 as they work to get a deal.
We are employees kind of working for a common goal, us on the front lines, and of course the nurses and all the rest of the support units in the hospitals that continue that care that we start. We absolutely do work hand in hand, and it only goes, the better patient outcomes is when we do work that way.
And as we mentioned, there's still no word on when the two sides could meet again. They had negotiations this weekend, but those fell through, leading to what you're seeing here along Cherry Street. Reporting live, Amy Montgomery, 13 ABC Action News.
And this walkout coming after months of disagreement between both parties. Now here's how it all happened. Contract negotiations with Mercy Health have been ongoing since July 30th of last year. On April 18th of this year, UAW members rejected what the company called its last, best, and final offer. The existing contract finally expired April 25th after several extensions. The next day, the union gave its 10-day strike notice, and that brought us to yesterday when 2,200 people walked off the job.
Mercy Health leaders say they are operating as normal, and during a news conference today, patient care was at the forefront. 13 ABC's Mackenzie Keyline joins us live to break down exactly how the hospital is trying to manage during the strike. Mackenzie.
Well, Diane, Mercy Health leaders say they understand the concerns that patients and their families have regarding care during the strike, but they stress that things are running smoothly despite having 2,200 of their employees out on the picket lines here. Now, during a press conference earlier today, the hospital's chief of staff says that the emergency room is seeing the same number of patients that they do on a typical day, and that the intensive care unit is open and still taking critically ill patients. Now, they did have to rearrange some procedures, reschedule surgeries, and transfer some of their patients, but they say they did this simply as a precaution to make sure that they have all the resources that their patients need. The hospital has also added some nurses and other staff from their sister facilities, including those in food service, to temporarily fill in.
They're highly, highly skilled. They are credentialed. They have ACLS and all those acronyms that nurses have, and they're highly certified and competent. Like Dr. Tita noted this morning, he was very impressed with the competent care that our patients are receiving, and they deserve to receive.
Now, one thing Mercy Health leaders say has been disruptive. In fact, you can probably hear it out here, the honks from vehicles passing by and the chants. They say that their patients that are ill and recovering, along with families that may be grieving the loss of a loved one, are having to deal with all of this commotion out here. Lee and Diane.
All right, Mackenzie, thanks. And as this situation continues to unfold, stick with 13 ABC for updates. And when new information comes out, we'll be sure to bring it to you on air and online on 13abc.com and our social media pages. Weather now, east winds brought some cold weather to the area today, but of course we're looking ahead to tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
Absolutely. What's the saying? Never trust an east wind, right? Chief Meteorologist Jay Burschbach is live in the First 20 Forecast Center. Jay?
Wow, has that come true this year? This spring has been marked by that east wind bringing cool weather and also this persistent chance of rain. And today the chance of rain did stay in Michigan. Much the same scenario tomorrow. So most of us will get through Wednesday without seeing any additional rain in the rain bucket. One little shower over the Maumee Bay, now just clearing Point Place. So if it's sprinkling there right along the lake there, it's going to end in about 2 minutes. There's a live look at it. 52 degrees. Northeast winds are at 14, gusting to 25, and temps, they vary from the 40s near the lake to 61 in upper Sandusky. So we'll track that east wind. It'll be increasing. Dry for most of us Wednesday with a sliver of rain possible. And then Thursday brings the highest chance of rain for the week. More on that and your Mother's Day weekend in the 7-day when I return.
All right, Jay, thank you. Well, new information tonight on an investigation underway in the Washington local schools. Documents uncovered by the 13 ABCI team show the board is putting a reading program under the microscope and its cost. I-Team reporter Sean Hegarty live tonight with what we know so far about this investigation. Sean?
Yeah, Lee, it's not a whole lot, and the board is being very tight-lipped with most of those discussions happening behind closed doors. But the documents show there is a focus, and where it goes from here is unclear. Over the past few years, Washington local schools have spent quite a bit of money on training, travel, and implementation of a program called Reading Recovery. That, according to documents obtained by the I-Team. They are the documents at the center of a school board investigation. Those documents lay out hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on the program. They include things like $95,000 for consulting, training, and travel, nearly $15,000 in books, and $8,800 in conference registrations. All of it connected to the Ohio State University Literacy Collaborative and the Reading Recovery Program based out of OSU. The Reading Recovery website describes the program as a research-based short-term intervention of one-to-one teaching for the lowest achieving first graders. That website also lists the school districts using the program. The only other one in Northwest Ohio using it is Holgate Local Schools in Henry County. Why that program is being investigated by the Washington Local School Board is not clear. 13 ABC reached out to board president Mark Hughes. He would not comment on the specifics, only saying it's an ongoing investigation. Superintendent Dr. Susan Hayward has not returned our phone calls or emails for comment. The documentation does show she signed off on the Reading Recovery Program in June of 2017. 13 ABC has learned that Dr. Hayward is an Ohio State employee. OSU records list Dr. Hayward as a lecturer in the College of Education and Human Ecology, the Office of Education Preparedness. Her salary listed as just under $16,000. This investigation was expected to be discussed behind closed doors at a Thursday Board of Education meeting. That meeting, along with a special board meeting tomorrow, have now been canceled. Stay with 13 ABC as we follow this story and see where that investigation goes from here. Lee?
Thank you. Well, Toledo police arrest a second suspect in connection with the Toledo woman's murder. This is 68-year-old Pierre Cunningham. He's been charged with murder. 41-year-old Erica Crawley found dead inside a garage on South Cove back in March. And as we reported, a second man also facing charges, Stephen Collins, was first charged in the case last month, facing charges of abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and obstructing justice.
New tonight, U.S. Marshals need help tracking down a fugitive. 48-year-old Samuel Miller, who we're told is also known by the name Leon Johnson, is wanted by the Lucas County Sheriff's Office for failing to appear in court for sexual assault and theft charges. He's also wanted by Toledo police for an armed robbery. Marshals say Miller's last known location is the 200 block of Bronson, but he may have fled Ohio and could be on his way to Wisconsin or Mississippi. There's a $1,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
It was just 2 weeks ago. It was a massive hole in the middle of Detroit Avenue.
Today, much different story. We have an update on the repair coming up next. Detroit Avenue is open again after a massive sinkhole swallowed up the street 2 weeks ago. Take a look. On the left, the aftermath of that sinkhole. On your right, what it looks like now. Detroit was blocked north of Dorr Street for weeks while crews repaired that giant crater. It was caused by a broken sewer line. According to the mayor's office, the repair was actually completed ahead of schedule.
Toledo police getting ready to help the city of Dayton handle a white supremacist rally later this month. Police department will offer 9 officers and a sergeant dressed in riot gear just in case they're needed at the rally May 25th. Dayton turning to Toledo because our officers have been through situations like this before. Chief Carl says police departments want to help one another.
Our police departments, our local, state, and federal partners, we work together as often as we can because our physical numbers aren't what they were a decade ago. So when an outside jurisdiction has an issue that could go south, as we've all seen with these rallies could go, we, and not just me, police chiefs across all of Ohio are more than willing to lend a hand if we can.
And the chief says minimal overtime will be used, and officers who owe time will be called in to work shifts here in town while the officers are away.
Still have about an hour to vote on this election day for most counties. There are only regional issues on the ballot, some just special elections. In Hancock County, voters will select a candidate for Findlay's mayor and several council seats. Only thing on the Lucas County ballot is a Swanton school levy for voters in that district. And once the results start rolling in, we'll post them online at 13abc.com. Well, she was just a teenager when she was ripped away from her parents and sent to a concentration camp.
Straight ahead on Action News, a Holocaust survivor sharing her story with local students.
Most of the area stayed dry today. Watching that next batch of rain in Illinois, a close call tomorrow before the chance of rain ramps up Thursday along with the temperature. The forecast, including Mother's Day weekend, is next.
Now, 13 ABC First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Jay Burschbach.
Plenty of clouds in the sky today, but not a lot of rainfall. Only rain we had was in southeast Michigan. Currently at 52 with that northeast wind at 14. The air is still pretty dry. That northeast wind bringing the colder air and drier air today. 57% your relative humidity. 40s to near 50 along the lakeshore. As you go inland, it gets a little bit warmer for most. Napoleon and Wauseon still a bit chilly at 48. 55 Ottawa, 57 Findlay, 53 over in Tiffin. Here's the weather in motion. Had some rain showers just along the state line and to the north. That was in the past 2 or 3 hours, but as they've come closer to the Maumee Bay and Lake Erie, they have completely disappeared. So the rest of our evening is looking dry. The little shower came through Point Place, Bedford Township, Lambertville, Temperance, Blissfield, and maybe just along Alexis Road to the north. So a close call on that one. Goodbye to that. Dry weather for the majority of the night. This is the next chance for sprinkles tomorrow morning. Most of that again goes to our north and parts of Michigan. And for Thursday, it's this batch of rain in the heart of the system that will start to move on through. Now, because that northeast wind today, it brought the colder air. Winds were gusting between 20 and 25 miles per hour. More of an easterly breeze tomorrow, and that will cause some lakeshore flooding. We have Lucas, Monroe, we have Ottawa, Sandusky, and Erie counties under a lakeshore flood warning that goes until 8 a.m. Thursday, with the worst of it here, possibly southern Monroe County and the Maumee Bay with that easterly direction. It's just the constant wind and the water slushes, or kind of sloshes, I guess, from the eastern part of the lake over toward the western basin of Lake Erie. Here's the forecast from the National Weather Service for the Toledo, let's say, point where they take the data. Right now we're at about, what, 5 1/4 feet or so above low water datum. So you folks along the lakeshore know that that low water datum mark is the average way down there. But this is going to be the peak, okay? Between 8 and 10 p.m. tomorrow, about 6.25 feet above low water datum. So the point of all this data, another foot rise on the lake waters. So we could see some localized flooding along the lake shore. Rest of us, though, a quiet night tonight, quiet day tomorrow, watching carefully for that little chance of a sprinkle. This is 8 a.m. You see those little showers approaching Hillsdale, perhaps Williams County, Lenawee County, but they disappear by lunchtime. Rest of our day dry and even some sunshine developing by the early evening. Thursday is a different story. We may start dry, but by mid-morning, showers start to work through. Regeneration of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon by 3, and more of the same here into the evening. So that chance of rain about 60 or 70%. With that, up to a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch of rain. Tonight's low 42 under mostly cloudy skies, northeast winds 10 to 15. The hourcast tomorrow calls for gusty east winds, at times gusting between 25 and 30 miles per hour, and mostly cloudy. Highs in the mid to upper 50s. Now your 7-day forecast, warmer on Thursday. In between the rain showers, 76 with that thunderstorm chance pretty high. Cooler and dry Friday, back to 58. Nice start to the weekend Saturday as Cedar Point opens this weekend. Not a bad day for opening day, but Mother's Day, unfortunately for your plans, my plans, chance of a shower, 62, 63 Monday, and back to 70 next Tuesday.
Everybody has plans.
We've got plans, but maybe some indoor plans if you don't want to battle the rain.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Jay.
All right.
Well, she was just 13 years old when the Nazis invaded Poland. Her parents, all but one sibling, died in the Holocaust.
And today she's sharing lessons from her journeys with local students at Swanton Middle School. Here's 13 ABC's Christian Brown.
93-year-old Paula Marks Bolton is a Holocaust survivor. She tells the story of being ripped away from her parents, then going to multiple concentration camps, to students at Swanton Middle School.
The 6 million men, women, and children were murdered for no other reason than they were Jews.
Her parents and 2 brothers were killed. She and 1 other brother survived.
And their ashes are crying out to us who survived. Do something. Stop this nonsense.
Marks Bolton gives this talk to teach children about tolerance.
It should never make any difference what nationality a person is, what religion a person is, or what color skin a person is. We are all God's children.
School leaders say the lessons being taught today are still relatable for middle school students.
For her to have this message of tolerance and patience and forgiveness, she says that even with all she's experienced, she doesn't necessarily hate the people. She hates the idea and what they tried to accomplish. And we have kids that experience bullying every day.
Students agree.
I think that took a lot of heart, and she has opened her heart to forgiveness and everything. And I think that's great. Everybody should be able to do that.
And although she forgives, she urges students to speak up when they see injustices so that history never repeats itself.
We must prevent this from ever happening again.
In Swanton, Christian Brown, 13 ABC Action News.
Remarkable story there. All right, let's switch gears to sports. Coming up, we've got the Walleye and a break. And a freshman at Perrysburg has made Northern Lakes League history.
Well, this week it's all about electricity at the Imagination Station.
Today kicks off Innovation Week, and the theme this year focuses on circuits. Guests will learn about electric components like resistors and inductors, and they will experiment with batteries and light bulbs.
Employees say it's a great way to show kids how electricity works.
A lot of times you can't really get hands-on with electricity and kids, but we do it in a safe and fun way. And one thing that they're really loving is the EG machine, or Van de Graaff generator, which is the classic make your hair raise due to static electricity.
And Innovations Week runs through this Sunday.
Now, 13 ABC Action Sports with BCSN. Here's Sports Director Justin Feldkamp.
Good evening, everyone. Not too many people saw the Walleye taking down the best team in the league in 5 games, but they did. Toledo closed out the Cyclones this past Saturday, so that means 4 days off before their next playoff series begins, and that rest is huge.
Gives us a little bit of time to recuperate, rest, heal up some old injuries and whatnot. As far as Tulsa goes, we know they're a really strong team. We haven't seen them as much as we have other teams we've played thus far in playoffs, but we'll be prepared. We're going to do our homework, make sure we get a good grip on all their systems, their tendencies, and things like that, and give ourselves the best possible chance to win the series.
Game 1 Friday in Toledo. Freshmen in high school aren't supposed to be able to beat up the competition at the varsity level, but one kid from Perrysburg is in 2 sports.
Starting first singles for us is freshman Mason Deal.
The Northern Lakes League has existed since 1956, and Perrysburg's athletic director believes Mason Deal is the first freshman to win both golf and tennis medalist honors as the #1 singles player.
It's been a lot of fun. Both the teams have been great, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without the the help from them and cheering on. It's just been a lot of fun.
When I say that, though, does it resonate?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. It's pretty cool to be part of my school history.
From here up, he's anything but 14 or 15. From here down, he looks like every other 14 and 15-year-old. So his work ethic is what does it. We don't have to push him at all, and I'm not speaking for his golf coach, but I will, because I know him well enough to know that he's going to outwork any request we would have of him.
What do you remember from the day that you won the NLL golf title?
I really couldn't believe it. It was very unexpected to win that. I just had a good day, and my team was cheering me on the whole time. It's a lot of fun.
He believes that if I'm going to be the best player out here, I have to act that way all the time. His maturity is through the roof. His work ethic is strong, but his court presence is amazing. He is always under control, and whatever happens, good or bad, he looks like that's exactly what he thought was going to happen. He hits the ball hard, and he'll go, no joke, Justin, 5 or 6 games without hitting a ball in the net.
Mason says he's been playing both sports since he was about 5, and he's laser focused, putting in a lot of practice on his own time.
1, 2, 3, Jackets!
And he is impressed, certainly as a freshman, and coach tells me he's got a legit shot to make it to state as a freshman.
All right, best to him. Bursback's a tennis player. I know that. See you out there.
In my spare time, sure. Yeah, just look like I'm a basketball player, too. You ever watch the All-Stars? It's about the same, but thanks.
I am a tennis watcher.
You are. No, you could probably take me now. But weather-wise, not a bad day tomorrow. Showers Thursday. We got to go.
All right, be sure to join us tonight at 11 for 13 minutes of nonstop news.